This chaise lounge has been a nice piece of furniture to have in our house for a number of years. It's really comfortable. My grandbaby loves bouncing on it.
You can't jump on these.
And for that reason, after the years, the springs have popped off. In fact, we're gonna fix it and put some more support on it so that my grandbaby can jump on it if he wants to. I'm Jared with DIY with Confidence. Thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe, and let's get going on this project. Yeah, it's true. We have a rock climbing wall in the family room. We're serious about creating some memories and having some fun, and this is one of the funnest parts with our grandchild. He loves climbing on this. This is his rock wall, and we put fruit snacks along the wall for him to climb up to. He's now 2.5 years old, and he can make his way all the way up to the top and ring that bell. Hey, speaking of ringing that bell, go ahead and ring the bell so you can see our next video that's coming up. I'm going to attempt to do this repair right here on the spot. First, let's identify a few of the items you're going to need to complete this project. You're going to need a heavy-duty stapler, manual or electric will work just fine, some staples to go with that. You're probably going to need a power drill and a power driver. You, of course, can complete this task with a manual screwdriver as well. But you're going to need bolt cutters, needle nose pliers, a pair of scissors, a small regular screwdriver. You'll need some twine. You're going to need to find some zigzag upholstery springs. You can find those on Amazon or maybe even a local upholstery repair shop. That's where I got mine, and it was a lot cheaper to buy it from them than it was on Amazon even. And then you're going to need some fabric cover, and this I also purchased on Amazon. And then the last thing you're going to need is zigzag spring anchors. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. You want a specific kind. The only thing I have to be cautious of is the fact that I'm going to be pulling some staples, maybe some nails out of here. And I want to make sure that I collect all of them because I would really hate to find one of those with my foot later. That is not a fun experience. So as I pull each one, I'm just going to collect them in a cup to make sure that I don't lose any. You're going to have a dust cover, polyester material that catches all the dust. It also keeps pets and small children from getting inside the furniture as well. So the first thing we're going to do is remove this dust cover. You can already see the springs pushing right out of here. And so we're going to remove this dust cover completely. I'm going to pull it all the way off and all the staples. And at the end, we'll put a brand new one on. Okay, we have several things going on here. First, you can see these zigzag springs are completely loose. This one has popped out of the bracket that holds it in place, and I can feel under here that that bracket is bent or broken, and it's not going to hold it any longer. So I need to replace that one. This one's ripped the bracket out completely. This is an area that takes a lot of abuse by bottoms and bouncing babies, and so I want to make sure that I really support this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the brackets here, 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 and here for both ends of these springs. In addition, I'm going to add a zigzag spring here, and possibly here to add more tension and support to this area that takes a lot of stress.
Oh, and don't forget to stress.
Now, one of the problems I have is this. To put the mounting brackets on as they were originally mounted, I would actually need to pull the upholstery off the top side because it's on the very top of this, and there's no way I can get a hammer in there because the upholstery's up against it. So what I'm going to do is instead mount the brackets right here on the face with the loop connecting right about there. Originally, I started with this bracket I'm demonstrating to you here, and I thought this would work great because it had this metal support and this nylon loop that it would rest through and kind of anchor everything into place. I'm going to show you why not to use these. Pause.
I will not pause. I will not repeat myself.
Let's take a look here and see what happened. First, you're going to notice that the brackets began to bend inward, pulling from the pressure of the zigzag springs. In addition, the nylon sleeve slipped out of the pocket which was intended to hold it. These kind of brackets do not work for the side application. They're intended to be mounted on the top of the piece of furniture, just like it was originally mounted. Now, I will say that these brackets are probably better than the original mounting, but they will not work and hold the tension that's necessary when we're doing a repair. We've got to use something else. I tried several different mounting brackets for you so you don't have to. And I can tell you which ones do not work. In fact, I saw these at the very beginning and they were more expensive, so I didn't get them. Just because something is more expensive doesn't mean it's not worth the price. Some of the other clips that I got were literally cents a piece or under $1. This style, named Sofa Savers, was more expensive. They sell online on Amazon and other places, eBay, for $4 and $5 a piece. I was able to find a set on Amazon when I bought 10 of them, or 10 sets of them. It was cheaper and they came to just over $1 a piece.
I'd buy that for $1.
And in my mind, this is the way to go. Let me show you how this one works. This will mount on the side right here, and it's made to mount this direction. The metal is, I don't know what gauge this is, but it's much thicker and much more sturdily constructed than any of the other brackets I was finding.
Don't hurt yourself now.
The spring will simply go behind it like that, and it will lock it in place. This actually fits above the height of the wood, and then it clips on behind. Here's the part I find exciting about this. Once it's in place over the spring, I'll stick this little pin through the hole at an angle, and it will go through the bottom like that. What it'll do though, let me do it right, is it will go over that spring, so it'll hold it in place. Then I will tighten that in place with the last screw right there, and it'll pinch that into place and hold the spring from coming back out that direction or popping out that direction. It'll completely stabilize the spring and lock it into place. These are made specifically for exactly this kind of repair. Pause. We're going to see what I did previous to getting the correct mounting brackets. This is how we're going to get the correct size zigzag spring for this. We're going to attach the spring to one of the sides, unroll it, and I'm telling you, this is a wrestle.
Hey, take it easy.
And then pull it out to where we see that it needs to go to mount properly to the other side. Stretch it, push it down into place, make sure it's got the right amount of spring and it's got the right amount of tension. Then we're going to pull out our handy dandy bolt cutters, grab that link where we know we're going to cut it, and clip it off with the bolt cutters. Let's flip it over and see how we feel about the tension before we put the dust cover back on. Okay, just looking at it, I can tell this has a lot more form than it did. This one actually has a curve in it like it used to when we first bought it. It's got a lot of tension here. Oh yeah. Before my legs would just be straight. Now it's causing an arch in here. All right, before we do the dust cover, I want to point out these springs traveled just a little bit, the new ones. These ones are bound in place on this crosswire. What I want to do is get some twine and twine these in place so they have a tendency to stay back in place. So let's do that before we put the dust cover on. I've pulled this upholstery fabric out to 1 layer thick. So when we staple this, we're going to want to make sure that we have this double layered in half, or maybe even 4 layers in half, to make sure that it's really in place. We're going to do that on the top and the sides. We'll start in one corner and fold it again on itself. And when you staple, you want to push down on the stapler so that it bites into the wood and so it enters into the wood. Otherwise, if you just hold the stapler there, it'll probably go in, but it's going to be very surface. Then you're going to have to go along and nail everyone down with a hammer afterwards. Now, before we staple this top one, I want to make sure that everything's straight on this side. so that I'm not having a big crease in it like this when I try and pull it tight. So I want to minimize that as best I can. I'm going to fold this in half, pull it tight all the way down, knowing it's going to be about there. Pull that tight across that way. Okay. Now let's work our way down this way. Now when I get down towards the end, I'm going to cut the remainder off here. And remember, I'm going to be folding it back on itself, so I can be fairly liberal in how much I keep. With the dust cover on, let's check out our final product. Back to perfect. This is comfortable to sit on again. Now I just got to keep Lincoln from jumping on it, or me from jumping on it.
They are just niños trying to release their wiggles.
If you would, please go down below and click on subscribe. That helps me continue to make DIY videos that help you in your home and your DIY projects as well. I'm Jared from DIY with Confidence. Thanks again for watching. Get ready for next week's installment where you'll get to see what I do as a result of a totaled car and what the next step in that is. Kind of a fun project I'm excited to share with you, which in my mind will open up a lot of extra projects and fun projects that I'm looking forward to working on and sharing with you. So we'll see you next time on DIY with Confidence.